want to fuck people up a little bit. I want someone to come here and to eat something, and then forever from that day forward be slightly different, where you can't stop thinking about this one thing, so it's fucked you up a little bit. Yeah.
Today in episode 3 of our Support Local Restaurant series, we're going to be going to 2 businesses who are actually doing quite well in this crisis. Our first stop will be Hart Bageri, where we're meeting with Richard Hart, and we're going to talk to him about all things sourdough bread, try some pastries, and maybe we'll take home a pizza kit. Our next stop will be Rødder Vin, where we're going to talk with Sulfin, who has transformed his wine shop into a bike delivery service. So if you need natural wine, all you got to do is message Sulfin.
I'm Richard Hart. I'm the owner of Hart Bageri in Copenhagen. I moved to Copenhagen from San Francisco, where I lived in the North Bay, but I worked at a bakery in San Francisco called Tartine. I was the head baker there. I was there for 7 years. I remember the first time I ate a tartine loaf of bread. I was a novice baker. I'd been baking for a year and a bit professionally, and I didn't quite understand. And I ate that loaf of bread and it fucked me up. And you know, from that day onward, I was like, okay, I need to get a job there. And it took me a year to get a job at Tartine. But I went all the time, over and over and over. Kept bringing Chad my loaves of bread. Please, can I come and work for free? No, sorry, there's no space. Please, can I just, sorry, we don't need it, there's no jobs. You know, I kept going over and over and over because that loaf fucked me up a little bit, you know. I've done a lot of traveling with Chad. We travelled around the world together. Everyone was very keen on what we were making, so we got invited to a lot of chef conferences and stuff. And while in that travels, we met Renee a couple of times. And the last time we were in Australia, and Renee, after our meal, sat us down and was like, "You guys, do you know of any bakers? Like, I'm looking for a baker." And at the time, I was super happy at Tartine, and I was like, "No, I don't know of any bakers. You know, I'm really happy here." And that kind of stuck with me. It stuck in my head, and eventually I was ready to leave Tartine, and I sent Renee a message and basically said, "Look, I'm ready to leave. Are you still looking for a baker?" And he replied with, "I'm so happy to get your email." So I moved to Copenhagen, and we came here with the idea of opening the best bakery in the world. I am a bread baker personally. I've hired an amazing pastry chef, Milton Abel. And we collaborate together on making items. This is the idea is this is a Danish bakery, and we're here to feed the Danes, and we have tourists and stuff, but we're really focusing on the Danish palate. We make a cardamom bun, which is really popular. When you're making croissant and you're trying to make great croissant, you really trim away at the edges. You want to make sure that the layers are perfect. So there's bits that you trim away. So all of a sudden we started thinking, okay, everyone's been asking us to make cardamom buns, and we fucking listened, I guess. So we took it a trim and we cut it into size portions and then threw it in a cardamom sugar. The idea is that caramelizes in the oven. It worked. It came out really well. And since then we've had Renee come and taste a few times, and he's like, needs more cardamom. And so we always end up upping the cardamom. But it's become so popular, it's not using only our trim now. We're making a lot of dough just for the cardamom bun.
This cardamom croissant is my favorite pastry from Hart. It's made with leftover croissant dough and then rolled in cardamom sugar, made with a lot of butter. Ooh, yeah. I love these little croissant pieces. This is so good.
This cheesecake, which has just gone nuts. You know, we never planned for it to go nuts, and now all of a sudden it's never going to come off our menu. It's kind of burnt on the outside, and the inside is kind of something like a soft cheese, a brie or something almost. I'm very fortunate that I'm a baker, and I can come here and I can still feed people. We put in all kinds of safety elements, like we're only having 2 people in the shop at once, where it used to be a busy shop full of people and full of life. Now we have 2 people in the shop, and there's people queuing down the street 2 meters apart from each other. Just new ideas. Like, we've been talking about doing some sort of delivery service for a long time, and it just probably never would have ever happened. So all of a sudden we realized that our business slowed, because we were used to having locals and tourists and businesses and everyone, and all of a sudden we lose 2 of those clientele. So we decided, okay, we'll start doing a delivery service. So before Milton left Anderson and Maillard, they were moving all their equipment, so he decided to do a donut day, and it went down a storm. And they were fucking delicious, so good. And since being here, he's wanted to add a donut, and we're quite pushed. We make a lot of product, and we have staff that are pushing all day, and we just couldn't quite figure out how to add it to our production schedule. And he wanted to do it on the weekend, and that was his plan. And then in the end, he was like, I'm an idiot. Like Tuesday's our slowest day. Let's do it on Tuesday. It's the idea of you want a donut, you can come and get it, but you got to come on Tuesday.
Hot, fresh donuts with a cinnamon and coconut sugar glaze.
Someone asked me the other day, I had a customer come in and said, well, what can we do to support you? And I didn't really know how to answer that or what to say. And to the lady, I was like, buy bread. You should come, just buy bread. And that's the wrong message. Like, the right message is be kind. Just be patient and be kind to people, like, because we're all trying, when we're all struggling through this, and if you've got issues at home, or so have we probably. So, and I have a lot of staff from around the world, and they've got families that they're worried about in other places in the world, and sometimes my customers get annoyed because all of my staff don't talk Danish, and like, my staff are from all around the world and they're trying to learn Danish. So just be patient with them and be kind, because they're just trying to help you.
Dream cake, baby. This is the new addition to Hart's menu. It is a twice baked croissant with almonds, brown sugar, and a whole lot of coconut. I haven't tried this one yet. Oh my god, this is sinful.
The very first wine shop I visited in Copenhagen was Rødder Vin, and today we're going to meet with Solfinn Danielsen, who runs this shop, and we're going to see how he's turned his wine store into a delivery service.
My name is Solfinn, and I'm the proprietor and founder of Rødder Vin, a wine shop and a meeting place, or at least it used to be a meeting place. The selection in the boutique is very eco-centered. It all comes down to that I like it. So all the wines in here are for me, basically. They're all what you call natural wine. I opened this boutique 6 years ago. We're actually supposed to have a big birthday party 2 weeks ago, but that didn't happen. But the shop opened after I had worked in different restaurants and for other importers in Copenhagen, and I wanted to accumulate everything that I've learned from everyone else into one small boutique, with focus on service or hosting, because I think that's the most important thing there is. My biggest luxury, and why I really love doing this, is that I haven't met up for work since I opened the shop, because this is my home away from home, and that's another thing that how I describe the boutique. It's my home. Reality knocked on the door, and we had to do something to transform this business into something applicable for coronavirus. So I very swiftly came up with the idea that I would, instead of people coming to the boutique and bar, I would come to them. And the easiest way to do that in Copenhagen is by bike. And for me it was a lot about also sending a certain signal. Because yes, I can also get people to come to the shop, but the whole idea is to stay at home. So how could I support that, as efficient as possible? I was a bike messenger like 20 years ago. My brain sort of remembers it, but my body didn't. So the first week was super hard. By the end of summer, I'll be riding around in Speedos. Supernatural has promised to sponsor them if I will ride in them. I wanted to take as much of the boutique on the bike lane as possible, and for me the boutique is about service, about personal service. So I insisted on doing it myself. I wanted that personal touch that this boutique has to ride with me on the bike, and that's why I'll ride to the end of the city for one bottle if that's what it needs, because people shouldn't feel obliged to pay more or buy more just because I have transformed the boutique to a bike messenger service. And also I wanted it to be no minimum order, no time slots. So I've taken the whole boutique in my backpack, hopped on the bike, and I'll bike wherever you are. I'm never so busy that I can't have my kids with me. I mean, they've been doing deliveries with me this morning, but it's, we stop at every playground that we pass. I have a coffee date with them. They're drinking baby chino, and they enjoy it. So all of a sudden, my work becomes their playground. So yes, they've been at work with me for 4 hours this morning, but if you ask them, we've just been to a playground and been drinking coffee somewhere, because they don't notice that I pass by somewhere, drop off a Smakeskasse. Smakeskassen is a curated 6-bottle box that is ever-changing. The selections always build up so that it's it's sparkling, it's white, it's red, it's funky, it's sort of traditional, so you should always consider it as a good introduction to the selection here. My favorite gamay at the moment is this producer, a new small producer out of Husa, who is mixing up gamay with Chardonnay in this one for a super juicy, but still, it has depth, it has layers, and that is what I like to think about all the wines in there. I wanted to share some karma, because I do believe in karma. I know it's something that everyone says, but I do believe in it, and I wanted to push as much karma out there as possible, because I'm sure that it will come back in some form when we're through this. So we're all piggybacking on Copenhagen as a gastro scene. So when the whole gastro scene is suffering, we gotta pay back somehow. It's always about if the glass is half empty or half full, and my glass will always be half full. So it's I'm always trying to do a positive twist to it. So it's the only way to stay sane. I'm not diminishing people that will lose their job, rest of them will close, but on the other hand, it's not harder than all we have to do is stay at home. I mean, we don't have to go to war or, all we have to do is sit still. And yes, that's very hard for us, I know, but we can do it. It is a lot easier to sit still with a bottle of wine in front of you. So, I mean, at some point you will sit really still if you drink enough of it. So, I delivered yesterday or the day before in Nordvest, where there was a sign outside of the door says it will be good again. To be a godt again. And I know it's a super simple message, but sometimes we need a reminder of it. It will be good again. Yes, it's going to be hard in the beginning because traveling is still going to be restricted, but I'm really hoping that the local community will spend time and money supporting small businesses, because if you can't spend your money in New York, you got to spend them here, because people will spend money. So, and that's why I also I wanted to put the message out that we're still here, and I hope that people will still remember us when we come out on the other side.